right, and then one last thing is the mat. So this is the mat that we have been using. It is a raised cot. You can use like a blanket or a towel at home. These are also on Amazon and Chewy. If you just look up raised cot, you'll find all sorts of them. We prefer these because it's easier for the dog to tell whether they're fully on or off of raised cot as opposed to a blanket or a towel. So it's easier for them in the learning stages. But if you want to switch to a blanket, a mat, or a dog bed, anything like that, the only thing that you should be aware of is that it should be entirely unique. So it should look nothing like what you normally have laying around the house, on the floor, anything like that. We want it to be very unique in what it looks like so that when we take it out and put it down, it's recognizable to him as the mat. Because what we want is for him to do exactly what he's about to, and just the second that he sees that there's a mat on the ground, I want him to hop on there and eventually lay down. He does not actually have to lay down. As long as he is staying on the mat, I am going to be happy, and I'm going to feed him at short intervals just to keep him knowing that he's doing the right thing, and to just reward him for doing a good job. It's hard to sit in one spot sometimes. Oops, and if he ever does get off, I'm just gonna simply say that, oops, and then help him back on the mat. I am not going to reward him right away for that. I am gonna wait a little bit longer so that he doesn't learn the pattern of getting off, getting back on the mat, and getting a cookie, because dogs will link that stuff together. And we can kind of encourage him to lay down by slowly lowering the treat all the way down to the mat. And this is something that I would ideally bring out when you are already getting ready to relax. So like at the end of the day when you're sitting down to watch TV or do whatever it is that you do to chill out at the end of the day. The lights are a little bit dimmer, the sun is going down, everybody's already kind of relaxing. That is the perfect time to bring out the mat while you're doing those calming things so that he can also participate in calming behavior. And you can just put it on the ground next to your spot on the couch and just intermittently feed him for staying on the mat. If he's really having a hard time staying on, you can just put him on a leash and manage him that way, making sure that he doesn't get off, and just rewarding him as often as you can if he is struggling. And I kind of like to just feed him, whoops, a bit for staying on there. Whoops, come on. Just because, like I said, it's hard to sit still when you're a young puppy. But I also want to be able to pull this out for when, oops, oh my goodness, I am doing things like the laundry. We do a lot of folding laundry while he's on the mat, the dishes while he's on the mat, anything where we think he might want to be a part of it, but he might be in the way, not super helpful. I can just put him on a mat so he's still able to kind of have a job and be a part of everything, but he's not having to, or he's not getting to kind of be in the way. Instead of like putting him away in your crate or in a room. This way he still gets to be with you, but he's not being intrusive. And he's young, so I would not expect a lot from him at this point. I would keep my support pretty high with this, but it will eventually become an extremely useful tool in your toolbox to help him settle down. We're building that calming response to being on the mat. And this is also something that you can use when you have people coming over. If you know that you have someone coming over, you can have yourself or someone else manning him on a mat, having him settled on a mat while they come in, and waiting until they are all the way in and ready to greet him, already know his rules before you release him off of his mat to go say hi. And we would really want to build this up strongly without having somebody come in that doesn't know his rules, doesn't know what's going on, before we really ask him for a lot. Anytime I notice him doing calming behavior, so like a yawn, if he flops down like that, if he flops a hip, I want to pay that also. And whenever am done, I am going to say, okay, and toss the treat off, and then immediately pick that mat up and put it away, because again, when I put it down on the ground, I want that to be, a cue in itself for him to get on the mat and stay on. And this way it makes it really clear what my expectations are. And that is how we work on that mat.